Oh, that stopped it. It's going?
Yeah, I think it's yeah. We'll have to do another video.
Okay, good.
Well, whatever. It is what it is. The video is the video. So I don't know what I was saying. I
No,
lost
so
my.
you were saying that you don't believe most rabbis. You're going there. I don't know what you wanted to bring with that up with that.
Oh, to basically say is that to look at the futures of the world, right? I don't believe in most rabbis, and that's why a lot of rabbis with big followings challenge a guy like myself within the future of the world. They look at a guy like me, they're like, oh, this guy's weird. He dresses this way, he talks a certain way, he prays a certain way. And I think, and I want to ask Rabbi Nagel this, and we'll go over in the next 5 minutes of halachic things in this. But I think the reason why people, big rabbis with major followings, and I pushed in crowds, I've been at biggest simchas, and these things that they raise hundreds of millions, whatever, like yesterday, last week, whatever, with the fundraisings of Israel, if you know what I'm saying, of all the Israel stuff, all the politics. I don't believe in any politics, and I watch politics, I learn about politics. It's people like myself challenge rabbis that are like, hey, you just want to ban the future of the world. You just want to ban AI, artificial intelligence. You want to just ban 3D printing, robotics. You want to ban and say food. You don't realize that the government and politics is going to take away your freedom. It's going to take away your money. It's going to take away your food. So learning and speaking to greater people, you have to have the biggest dreams, but I think you also have to be like, hey, how do you push and push, even when you're on ground zero where I'm holding, like, to go from, there's different stance in your life. Every day there's going to be different stance and different. You get my questions?
I get what you're.
I don't know if it's passionate questions.
Yeah, no. I think I understand. So let's talk a little bit about the future of the world. Okay, let's talk about what is AI. Okay, AI is nothing but a tool, or at least it's ultimately a tool to increase one's productivity, because all you need to do is basically it goes back to the core. What is a human? And cuts out all the rest. And the human quality is the one who has the kernel of the idea and an ability to express that idea and actualize it. And that's all you have to do, is to feed that to the AI, and they actualize that into something more, brings it out, can make a big following out of it. So, but the AI doesn't start the idea. The AI is taking an idea and expanding it, making it more beautiful, making it something that can actually be actualized. But it always takes that initial idea of the human, which goes back to what the core quality of human being, his imagination. There's true imagination of like imagining a world in a certain way. You can have a conversation with AI explaining what your dream is, and the AI will just, with the bank of knowledge that an AI has, which is basically the extension, whatever is available all over the internet, all over the minds of the world that plug in information to it, and it's culling that information, and they're able to respond and say, well, based on what you want, well, here's what you need to know, A, B, C, and D, here's what you need to know.
And where does that go from halachic, from, let's say, the Svarna, or Chumash, or halachic terminologies?
No, so there's a big mistake. People think that the AI,
not just AI. We were talking about all social media. Because I get drained in social media. I love just watching and scrolling shorts. Right, we're holding a very, very interesting time. Right. Very interesting time in the world today. We're gonna have, in a blink, we might have a third world war, and people might dislike me. Go look and I don't like myself.
Did you see what's going on in California? I mean,
what do you mean California?
Crazy, right?
It's not just that. It's
I'm just saying,
real people.
The United States of America, and it's chaos. When there's chaos in the most civilized country in the world, then that's like a sign of what things are, and where things are really holding. Chaos is a simon. You know what I'm saying? It's a simon of.
Is this the most civilized country in the world?
Supposedly, it's the.
In all things.
In terms of it's the leader of the world. It's the leader of the civilized world. Yeah, it's the head of the civilized world. That's what they consider themselves. Is it true or is it just a fake? Is it all AI? Who knows? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I don't know, because like I've been talking with somebody, a close friend of mine, and she'll probably listen to this.
Yeah.
I'll probably send it to her. Basically, we've been debating for the last 10 years since I was I'm 25 today, since I was 15 or 18 from when I met her. Basically, this person who's a very close friend of mine, about where the food shortages are, right? And we understand from Bill Gates, from all these big heads, only 10 or 20% of the world is somebody, and 80% of the world is nothing. Is middle class or poor or like people, and they don't even have a soul. A lot of people, they might not have money, but they don't even have a soul, Rabbi. Like, think about it. Imagine you go, and I've lived in a lot of hoods at 25, and where my apartment, right here is not the hood, but there is the hood, right? At the end of the day, I'm the only Jew in that building, right? So like at the end of the day, I mean, it's interesting. That's the fact that both of the buildings I'm currently renting, like I'm the only mezuzah there. How interesting is that? How interesting would you say that like it's like
people? Here's the thing: you always have to be humble, because I mean, and I'm very disturbed when you say that. Oh well, these people don't even have a soul. I don't. It's very hard to say that. If you talk to anybody, and sometimes it could be the person who looks the most, the guy you need to like stay away from and you'll be wary of. You never know. He has a lot of wisdom. He has a life experience that you can't even imagine.
No, what I mean by a soul is yes, I've talked to some of those people on the streets,
and I'm sure you've been well enlightened. But
yes.
More, and just because they look poor and just because they don't look the part of the Wall Street millionaire doing who knows what, wheeling and dealing.
They have a lot of street knowledge that most people don't even know.
Right, they're way ahead of you. Way ahead.
That's understandable, but what I mean by a soul is in God. A lot of people don't have a soul with God. They say they do. Or I would even say even people in the Mirror and BMG, and I've had debates with a rabbi of mine who he started his own school afterwards. They left the Mirror. A lot of these people, they sit and learn Gemara. A lot of these people, they might learn Torah, Rabbi, but they don't have a soul. They don't actually have a soul. A lot of people, you're going to sit with them and they're going to say they have a soul, and they say they're Jewish, and they say they're Shivish or Lamdins or whatever. And I'm telling you, I've sat with a lot of different people. I've sat in a lot of different walks of lives. I've talked and been in a lot of different places that people know about and don't know about, Rabbi. My life has been a roller coaster. It's a movie every day. So I have talked to some of the homeless people, and some of them, yes, they do have a soul. I agree that but I don't believe that all my passion, that's what I'm saying. They're passionate. They have dreams. They have a vision. They have a relationship with God. How many people when they pray, is that when someone wants to kill them or kick them? That's my question. I mean, these might be harder questions. I don't know myself the answers, bro.
So if I'm understanding what your question is, so let's make sure I understand. You want to understand why is it that when you're at the heights of your prayer, you have most enemies? Doesn't make sense. That's when that's when you're supposed to have the most friends. Is that what you're saying?
You know what?
I don't have an answer to that. That's a problem. But it's not because you're making it because they don't have a soul, which it's harsh words to say that about people, that they don't have a soul. But I do agree that there's a question when somebody's trying to serve God and you let it bother you. We actually have it, it's a pasuk in Chumash, that in the Torah it says that, talks about everything's going to be good. And then it says, and if you don't want to listen to Hashem, and there's and the Rashi explains over there, what does that mean? It means that it annoys you when someone's doing mitzvahs. It annoys you when somebody's learning. You get bothered by it. That's what means it's disgusting to you. Because why? So that's a big question. Like, why does it bother you? Who cares? Live and let live. What do you care what he does? What you do? It's not relevant to you. Let him live his life. Why does it bother you? Well, let him float his boat. What works for him works for him. So it doesn't work for you. You find learning a bore. You find davening, you can't concentrate. So he gets something out of davening. Why does it bother you? You know why? Because that's the nature. It's not because they don't have a soul. It's because of pure jealousy. When they're bothered, that means they wish they could have that kind of ecstatic experience that somebody they see you having, and that bothers them. That's it. That's not something to be upset about. It's not even something to be. It shouldn't bother you when that happens. And you shouldn't say you have no soul. It's not that they don't have a soul. It proves that they do have a soul because they're jealous. If you didn't have a soul, they'd be indifferent. You understand? Non-soul is where you could care. You don't care about anything. A soul is either where you there or you're jealous of when you're not there. You get what I'm saying? It's a different. I don't know if you like what I'm saying, but that's important. Also, forget about whether I'm right or wrong. It's good for your own perspective, because when you think about people, you get caught up in that. You feel bad for them. It's like, one day I'll give a bracha. You should also be able to daven with that kind of fervor. That's all. Don't worry about it. One day you'll achieve that. And when you disturb the next guy, you'll understand what it is.
Is it like connecting, like going back to what I was asking earlier? I was asking you a few minutes ago. Do you think it's because of where the world is today? Do you think it's because and people, they degrade someone who is somewhere not where they are, or where we all have our own like journey, and people, when you walk into a place, all of a sudden you're loud, you're outspoken, you go through the back door, front door entrance concept. That's whatever, we could explain the concept if you want. But I'm saying is it because like the second I walk into a place, you walk into a school, is it because of who I am that I'm out loud? I'm a loud person, just as my soul's loud. Do you think that's why people look wherever I go? If I live in a place for more than a little bit of time, I get Jews and non-Jews. And I've lived in a few places. I've been around a few blocks at this point, whatever that is. Like, do you think it's something within me, or do you think it's with who I am, or do you think it's back to where the world's going?
I can't answer that, but I want to tell you something about. There is a value of trying not to attract attention to yourself. In general, trying not to attract attention to yourself, because it's a distraction.
How do you do that when you're a little lost in life and you're not sure where you're going or where you're coming from, and you're like, okay, you're like, you like to make videos, or you have done stuff, and so many people, and you're so reachable, you like to be so reachable, and then sometimes people are like, screw you, you don't like. How do you value someone's? It's like valuing yourself within your dreams, with being an open person. Because there's so many pieces of me. There's so many pieces of me. That's my hardest thing. And then I have my traumas in my day-to-day, personally. I have so many traumas within me from 0 to 25, from the people beating me day in and day out, from the family, friends, and then I still love them and hate them. And it's like
extra feelings.
It's like I have feelings, but like it's a cholent. So how do I take that cholent and make it a better cholent? And then next,
I know those are hard questions, and I mean, look, you have to have good friends that you could talk things out with, and there's things that you could do to just give you. There's tools that people can give you to help you sort of like take a different perspective of things. After all, Hashem, God, is one God in the world, and He was there when you experienced all these experiences, and they're all for the good. Meaning you're supposed to draw out. What that means is you're supposed to draw out the good from that and try to focus on that. What good can you share the world because of your experiences? And sometimes the good is that I'm not going to allow that to continue. Sometimes, what the bad things that happened to me, and now I turned it into a good. You understand?
I mean, I'm sitting down, I'm schmoozing later tonight, God willing, with a friend of mine. Maybe you know, his name is Zions. I won't say which Zions, but someone Zions who lives in this. I mean, there's at least two Zionses. There's a few Zionses, and we were discussing, like, I spoke to him on Shabbos, like right before Shabbos. I walked from whatever, in between Mincha and Marav, Shal Shur's time, and I told him I want to shmooze with you, and he's like, Louis, we had like a 20-30 minute conversation, and similar. I've been like thinking about this, like, how do you move on and keep moving and keep pushing forward wherever the next step is for you within business and in personal, like, to not just make money, to that you can further your dreams into reality. Like, because that's like the place I'm at. Like,
I'll tell you one thing, and this is my word of advice. Maybe I will have to go really soon, but I want to share with you, and I think it's a very important thing. A lot of times people's big dreams are holding them back from actually achieving them. What do I mean? The dream itself is holding you back. Why? Because your dream is so far ahead of where you are right now, you have no clue what to do the next step. And you're lost.
So how do you take the loss? How do you take the losses? I'm cutting you off here. From even if I have only 1 minute more of your time, Rebbe, to going back into the futures of the world in halacha, because like that's like my challenge. Knowing, okay, what is my future? Right at the end of the day, that's what bothers me daily, and I pray for this every day. I'm like I'm probably gonna go daven right now, and I'm gonna put in my davening what I want. Right? Every day we put in our davening what we want, what our dreams are, what we're asking God to do. And like, how do I, as a person, yeah, I might be videoing this, but I'll ask this to you any day. Exactly. You know that I've asked this to you 100 times, and I'll ask you another 100 times. And I might be in different ways. And like earlier today, I was speaking to a friend, and he says to me, Louis, I told him, Shlomo, like, you might ask me, what about my anger? What about my feelings today? And I'm married and I have only one kid. I told him, in 6 years from now, if you call me up, when I'm 31, and he said 5 years from now, he's 27 and I'm 25. So we're 2 years apart. If he calls me up at 32 years old, and I'm 30 or 31, right, in six years from now, Rebbe, think about we have the same conversation, Rebbe, in 6 years from now. It's not a lot of time. 6 to 10 years is not a lot of time. It's a lot of time. I tell him, you're gonna have the same emotions, the same rutzen, the same lostness, the same anger issues. If you have 2 children, if you have another wife, if you have $1 million, you have $100 million, if you have all the things,
you're gonna be in the same place.
So that's what I want to know. If I only have 10 more seconds of your time, if I was to, like, I want to know, like, if I was to, like, just, and obviously we're gonna continue this only to continue growing this relationship. I want to know, like, it's like, where does someone go within the future? I know this might be a lot of questions to be loaded.
So here's the short answer. The problem, what I say is that looking into the future too far and focusing so far into the future distracts you from what should be done today and being in the present. And there's things that you should look at as like, I know what I want in the future, but now I want to like do a step today that's going to get to that future. Meaning you're changing the way to look at the future. I'm not like only thinking about the future and how amazing it is. I want to bring it to reality by saying, well, what is it that I could do today that's going to get me that step closer? One thing, and that's all you need each day. Breaking down that beautiful vision of what's down the road, 10 years, 15 years down the road, and saying, breaking off into a small piece, an increment in that direction that I can do today. And sometimes it's talking to Rabbi Nagel. Sometimes it's making, like you said, your friend told you, make a certain amount of phone calls every day in that area. You'll see things happening. making the small goals to get to the big goals.
Yeah, he also said davening, try to make sure you daven 3 times a day.
Right.
In Kedusha.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want to know back, and I'll let you go after this question. I know I cut you off. Is the Kedusha as a person, is that the energy of the internet today? Do you think that energy is the light, and that's why people challenge me about the future of those things? And then can you bring a piece? It's a two-part question. I know what you're thinking about it. Because it might be loaded. This might be very personal. And can you bring me, other people around the world, because this will go to friends of yours, like halacha in what you were saying before? And then I'll let you go.
Okay, I honestly, the way I see it is that let's say talking about like the internet, people say internet, it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's like it's a tool like any other, but since it's such a powerful tool, you have to be the boss of it. You have to know your limits and create your limits. That's it, and it can't be somebody else creating those limits. Really needs to be you or the boss over it. It's the same thing we describe like the body and the soul as like a horse. The body is like the horse and the soul is like the driver. If you're letting the body dictate things, so then you're in trouble. But the rider of the horse needs to control the body, needs to be the one in charge. And that's the key thing for the internet. The way I see the way the internet is, it's a tremendous tool, tremendously powerful tool, but you can't let it be your boss. And you have to realize that the internet is designed to want to be your boss. Just like your body is designed to want to be your boss. And in a way, the body has its drives, its urges, and it's pulling you, and it wants to go there. But you have to say, I'm in charge. Same thing with the internet. You have to say to the internet, I'm in charge, not, and the answer is not to cut it off not completely necessarily, and that's controversial, what I'm saying. But that's the future is going to be, that we're going to have to learn how to control it and be the boss. And the way to be the boss is to make sure that it's not making up your mind. You can't let it influence your mind. Then it's putting in the ideas in your head to be subservient to it, to want to buy things, to want to scroll and more and more and more and watch entertaining video after entertaining video. You want to be the boss. You want to use it as your tool to spread light, to spread knowledge to the world. That's how you want to use it. And that's, to me, what will change the world, can potentially change in a minute. Everyone in 1 second can all of a sudden come to the clarity of Torah and Hashem and God in this world.
And is there like one can you give me, can I ask if I can get one halacha for AI, artificial intelligence, 3D printing and robotics? Can I get like one halacha that I can look more into? That like the Rav like his
halacha question, you mean?
No, halacha like one halacha that I can look personally, because like I'm trying to find different svarim. Really, like real, not like a guy saying, "Oh, call me." I know people challenge.
Here's the question. There are plenty of rabbis, and I promise you, it's not this rabbi, but there are rabbis that don't know what they want to say, and they ask AI for a Dvar Torah. Is that kosher or not kosher? Halacha. It's a halacha question. Something you could research. Is there anything wrong with it?
But like, what's like when I look at the Sforno, right? I was learning a piece from the Sforno. I could bring it from you from Vayikra Bahar, and I was asking some guys. But I was like, it's one, and then I was also learning from the Chavetz Chaim. I could bring you a few different places that I've saw this. That it said that the Jewish people, they had the land, right? God said that He's going to give the 12 Shvatim, 12 areas in Israel today that I think only Israel is like 20% of the land is developed. If you understand, I would love to learn more about how the auctions, and I've gone and been through Israel, and I don't know if you know or whatever, but 20%. It's an auction. Very fascinating. And even Rehavia today is not developed. The governance is very weird when it comes, because America is like every inch. I was learning in a house in Rehavia, and last year, about a year and a half ago now, and I was like, and we were discussing how America every day cares more about the Jewish people from America in Israel, right? How interesting is that our government, our people, you care about people, your family and friends in Israel when you're in America. You put your dollars, right now we're doing, I think they're about to raise about $107 million for the Jewish schools in Israel, right? I don't know politics. I'm not even going into politics because I don't care about the politics. I just care about the facts. Facts matter. At the end of the day, our rabbis here in America cannot raise $107 million here. So we're going and we're giving, those rabbis can come here in America and raise $107 million. Last 50 years. This battle has been 50 years. And it's going to be another 100 years.
So whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? The bottom line is, what raises money? I mean, I don't want to say it, but the way money gets fundraised. And I learned this from the head Chabad rabbi here in Houston. The money, most of the money, he says there's three groups. There's the Reform, there's Conservative, and the Orthodox. From Reform, I get my money. From the Conservative, I get my clients. Those are the people who I get to come more from. And from the Orthodox, I get my problems. Okay? And each one is providing something. But why is the Reform giving the big money? The answer is because they feel guilty. Jews in America feel guilty because they're living in America. Because of that, the money that's funneled to Israel is their guilt money. You following? It's guilt. That's what it is. I think that's the real insight. Yeah, they don't feel guilty when a yeshiva here in America goes, okay, whatever. Where do you put your money? Where to make you assuage your guilt because you feel guilty that why am I not living in Israel? So they throw money there. You follow? That's the difference.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah, right.
That's interesting.